one of our like hosts, he was taken as like an 8-year-old kid. There was like a civil war going on this was in Siberia, and he was taken by some like a radical group and turned into like a child soldier to fight for that group. And he was like handed a machine gun at age 10, and that was like a horribly gruesome and painful story. But then he like, after the war, he like ran into a German missionary in the middle of the beach, and he was like living on the streets because he had been estranged from his family. And this missionary like randomly gave him the opportunity to go to like a film school that the missionary was like developing in that area. And now this guy like has, obviously like found Jesus, and has like a church community there. And he's worked for like National Geographic and some other like major news source as like a documentary filmmaker. And just like all kinds of stories like that of like, God is moving in like really powerful, just fun ways. But then also like some of the most like touching things for me was just to experience like a different kind of way of like relating to people. So like one thing that was fun was that as we're walking along, like little kids will just like, they would just like crowd around us, and they would just like grab my hand as we're walking along. Like they don't know who I am, I don't know who they are, but like we're just happy to like, it was just like a fun little thing. And like grown men like me and this like one of my hosts, like it was normal for grown men to like hold hands as we walked along, just as like a show of friendship. And I just thought it was like a beautiful example of like brotherly unity that we read about in the Bible. So
wow,
that was unique and fun too. And like in church, this was like one of my highlights, was just like dancing around in church. And like we don't dance much in church here, but it was like a whole party for like hours. So it was beautiful. Right. Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, Carlin. Let's see. What was it like being able to serve, this is kind of along the same lines, but to serve creatively in Sierra Leone and Liberia? And what were the tasks expected of you?
Yeah, so there wasn't really much expected of me. I kind of came in with my own agenda of like, I want to capture stories and share them. And I was thinking that the church was like kind of on the same track with that. But we got back, and like I shared my stories on my own website that I had developed for the trip. And the church, I think, kind of did their own thing. But I was kind of a third party the whole time. They just created this opportunity for me to go so that I could share those stories. But it was cool to like, it was a challenge to be honest about my experiences and not try to like, or this was key for me. Like I wanted to really be honest about my experiences and not try to make it sound, sorry, microphone, make it sound like better or more exciting or more crazy than it actually was. There were some things about the trip that were very sobering, of like, I had super high expectations, and some of those were met, absolutely, like based on the things that I shared with you. But then there were other things that were maybe like a little bit, sobering is the word that comes to mind, of like.
That's a communications major.
Yeah.
Sobering.
Yeah. That's a good word. Yeah. That, just like the challenges that we face here are similar to the challenges that they face there with like, there's people that really like live and experience the gospel, and then there's other people who like don't, or there's like lies that creep in and like make their way into what people think is the gospel, and so there's some like distortions there, just as there are here, and that was sobering. And some other ways of like I thought maybe like I would personally experience something like miraculous or like see something miraculous happen while I was there, and that wasn't. Yeah, these things are so in the way. I'm just kidding. And that wasn't something that like happened, and so yeah, coming in with like a creative approach, I really wanted to be honest about my experience and not try to like make it sound better than it is. And what I found was like really the world is the same everywhere you go, where like people face challenges and people celebrate beautiful things, no matter where they are, and it looks different everywhere, but yeah, and it was fun to go and experience those differences and share them, and I think I'm better for it to have gone and experienced those things.
That's for sure.
I don't think I'm necessarily like a transformed person, but it gives me a clearer picture of reality and maybe strengthens my hope for eternity, where like I'll get to experience those like different cultures and different peoples, and I hope that the ways that I was transformed little by little, I hope that I'm able to like share those with the people around me by sharing stories and sharing photos. So
good. Thank you. Let's see. You shared some highlights already, but were there anything that posed challenges for you during your time in Sierra Leone and Liberia? Any challenges that stood out to you?
For one thing, it was really hot.
That's definitely. Would it be like here in the summertime, like when it gets, was it like in the hundreds?
Was it? I think it was like 80s, 90s.
Still hot.
But like very humid.
Mm-hmm. For Oregonians, that's
yeah. And like into the night as well. Like it was hot. And so yeah, it was a unique experience to like go to bed. I mean, they didn't have AC like where I was staying. And so I was just like sweating all night, which was kind of fun. Not necessarily super fun, but good experience. Other challenges. Sorry, that wasn't a very serious answer.
That counts.
And it wasn't actually that bad. I've been other places that are warm and it's fine.
Was there like a language barrier? Was that a challenge for sure? Did you have like interpreters?
Yeah, there was, a lot of them speak English.
Okay, yeah.
So it was, and their like English level kind of varies, I guess. So that was sometimes a challenge, but for the most part, it was okay. Like the people that we were interacting with typically knew enough English in order to like have a basic conversation. So that was good. One of the challenges was in the week that we were there, first of all, we had like 4 of the 10 days were solely dedicated to travel. And so that was like 40% of our trip right there is just like being on a plane and on a bus. So that was kind of rough. Yeah, but another challenge was while we were there, we spent a lot of time like bouncing around to different places, which was good for the trip because like the leaders at Jefferson Baptist that were going on this trip, like their goal was to check in with the different ministries that they're supporting and are like partnering with over there. And so like we had to make it to all of those different places in order to like say hi and see how they're doing and that kind of thing. But it was hard to like really like experience what life was like there because we would only be in one place for like 2 hours at a time and we would move on to the next place. So that was kind of a bummer. But there were a few days that I got to like stay in one like small town in Sierra Leone and like play soccer with some of the kids, which is very much a must on all of my mission trips. Must play soccer.
What did serving overseas teach you just in general? What are some of the greatest lessons that you think that God was teaching you?
Yeah, I think that Well, I think I've said this like twice now already, but I guess maybe I'll reiterate it, and maybe I'll say something new and interesting this time, or maybe not. Just that like this keeps coming as like a lesson to like learn and relearn, but I just feel very confident that like people are the same no matter like where they come from or like what language they speak or what their life experience has been so far. Like we all hurt, we all love, we all hope for things and those hopes sometimes come to pass and sometimes they're disappointed. And so there's just this like shared reality that we live in. Yeah, and that's, for me, that's like, it's hard. It's a hard reality that we live in, but it's also a beautiful reality because there's just that connection that I can have with like with you and with like any person that I come into contact with. There's that shared experience of like we live in this world, and we both know that that this world is like tainted by sin, and maybe that's not the language that this other person uses, but like the principle is there. And we also both know that there's beauty in this world, and like God is good and provides wonderful things for all of humanity. And again, like that might not be the language that you use, but like you experience the goodness in this world. Yeah, and that can be like a beautiful connection point, and an opportunity to share our celebrations with each other and share our heartaches with one another. And really that's like a beautiful venue for the gospel. Because this is like, there is good news that, it is good news that there's a God who created this world like very intentionally and desired to create humanity, so that they could take part in relationship with him and enjoy this like absolutely stunning creation, like this world around us, and make it even more stunning and wonderful, and like take advantage of its natural properties and turn it into something glorious. Yeah, and like it's good news that though this world has been twisted, like he hasn't like given up on that creation, but there's like a plan in place, and like it's already working right now in order to like bring it back to that original reality of like where things worked together for good, like every time. And so I think that that's something that like I cling to like really often in my everyday life, of like things just go wrong a lot. And yeah, but like there's hope that though things go wrong, like all those things are going to be made right. And I know like when someone else around me is like experiencing things going wrong, like I can be there for them and be their hope, or like provide some of my hope for them, I guess, in that like I'm there with them in it, even as like God is there with them in it. And yeah, together we can just like keep walking until the day when those things are made new. So
Wow, that was a beautiful answer. Thanks.
Thanks.
And that brings us to our last question. Do you have plans to go overseas again?
Maybe.
How in the works?
I actually just got off of a plane. I was visiting my sister in New York this past week, and so I got back like late Saturday night a couple of days ago, and it was like one of the most miserable flights I've ever had. So I'm kind of done with plane travel for the moment. So it might be a little bit before I go back. But yeah, one of the things that this trip maybe like instilled in me is that I'm kind of done with like the short term trips. I've only done like 3 missions trips, but I've done some other like short term travel just as like a, tourist, living the good life, I guess. I don't know if that's actually the good life. But there's only so much that you can like really experience a place when you're only there for like a week, or even if you're only there for a month. Like that's such a short amount of time to really get to know what life is like there. And I am a sucker for getting to know what like a person's normal life is. So like my favorite travel opportunities, one of them was like getting to stay with some family friends I have in Austria and like hang out with their kids during the day and just like go to the grocery store with them, or like go get ice cream or go to the zoo with them, just like kind of experience some of their everyday life. And I think that that's the place where like real relationships are built, and relationships are the place where like God's work is really most fruitful. So I think if I go overseas again, which honestly I envision I probably will at some point, it's going to be longer term than like a week.
If you mean time.
Yeah.
Invested and get to know the people.
Yeah. And I don't know that I don't think I have like a specific calling at the moment of like, I really want to go here and I really want to do this. But yeah, I've just been like challenged recently, just kind of revisiting the Great Commission from a few different people's perspectives, and challenged by the calling that like maybe I don't necessarily specifically feel called to missions, but like Jesus's call for all of us as Christians is like really clear, that we're to like make disciples and share the good news. So yeah, I guess I'm curious to see where that'll land me in the future, but
You seem like you have an open heart though, and that's good.
yeah. Hopefully.
Well, thank you so much, Carlin, for your time.
Yeah.
That concludes our interview together.
Woohoo. Thank you.